Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back. It's Friday afternoon. Hope you're all well. Thought I'd just give you a quick vinyl update. We are listening to Captain Ganja and the Space Patrol. This was recommended by the VC's very own David Guerre from France. Kind of a dub record. I've been wanting to listen to a bit of dub. I used to listen to dub quite a lot back in the old days when I used to go out to clubs and so on, but it's not the kind of music I've ever kind of bought or owned. And David showed this record. I don't know anything about it really. Captain Ganja and the Space Patrol. Paul Thompson, Tony Matthews, Paul Dawkins, Chris Henry and Les McNeil. So yeah, dub. And very nice it is too. Thank you, David. Check out David's channel, link somewhere. So, yeah, I've been buying lots of records. I didn't bother trying to make any kind of New Year's resolution about it. Tried that last year, didn't work, so I've just launched myself into this year, buying a lot of stuff from charity shops, from thrift stores. So I'll show you a few fun things that I picked up recently at this shop. It's called Bernardo's, which is a British English charity shop chain. Got a few good things from there, but also I have done my first ever going round to somebody's house to buy their records, and we'll get to those after I've shown you the thrift store finds, and I'll explain all about it. A guy called Tony, who I'd never met before, saw a card in a supermarket and rang the number and went round to his house. But yeah, let me show you the thrift store finds first, and then I'll show you what I bought from Tony. So I found a really nice run of Henry Mancini albums in Bernardo's. These are not films that I know, but obviously Henry Mancini is Henry Mancini, composer of the Pink Panther and numerous other wonderful pieces. I was reading recently-ish the autobiography of Donald Fagen from Steely Dan, and he was saying in that book how Henry Mancini was a really big, important formative influence on the Dan. I think, you know, it's that kind of very sophisticated, jazzy, lounge jazz, superb orchestrations and, you know, smooth kind of feel. So always pick up Henry Mancini if I see them, which I very rarely do. So when I saw these, I kind of grabbed them. They were £1 each. All in good condition. And they've got written on them, somebody's written on them. Somebody has written in pencil things like, let's have a look, a fast one, slow, lively. And this one it says here, ideal for offbeat. Not quite sure what that means, but I think these records have been well loved. Yeah, lively, jolly. It's nice that the person in question was keeping tabs on the mood and the tempo of all the various records that they were going to play. Nice covers, aren't they? And this one made me laugh when I saw it. Featuring the theme from Charlie's Angels. How can I resist? Car Wash, Evergreen, Gonna Fly Now, music from Roots. What a great show that was. So yeah, these are all, I think they're all on RCA Victor. So I couldn't leave them behind. Now in Bernardo's, they had a great selection of kitsch records. I spoke to the guy down there and he said they had a huge consignment. I don't buy a huge amount of kitsch stuff. I couldn't resist this one, which I was thinking about putting in a frame. George Wright, organ player. What a fantastic cover that is. And this one actually seems to be, let's have a look. Oh, it's Vocalion stereo. What else did I find? Gins again, Dusty Springfield. Don't have a great deal of her music on vinyl. I have a best of, and I don't have Dusty in Memphis yet, so I grabbed that one. Haven't listened to this yet. It's on Mercury. I'm on Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis. Now this looks to be an original album, I think, rather than a comp. Some nice liner notes on the back. This one is on Mercury. Jerry Lee Lewis, King of Rock and Roll, some said. I think he said that, didn't he? Irresistible for a book. Now this one, I'm going to do a video on this. I posted it on Facebook. This is the Alan Parsons Project, I, Robot, a record which I have seen many times in the wild and I've always left it behind. I've heard sort of mixed things about it. I know Ronco, My Long Puppy, he did a video on it a while back, and the video was called something like, "Is this the worst album from the 1970s?" And I think it does divide opinion. What I love about it, the Alan Parsons Project. Alan Parsons is the guy who engineered Dark Side of the Moon, and he worked with the Beatles and so on. He's never had much credibility. He's one of these people who's kind of largely invisible. This is the Alan Parsons Project, so he doesn't sing. He's not really in the spotlight. He produces, he co-writes, so he's fairly anonymous. But then you sort of open the album up, and for some reason he's chosen to have the most enormous gatefold photograph of himself inside, which is quite funny. So I really enjoyed this, and I'm going to do a video on it. So I'm not going to say too much about it right now. I've just noticed I've got a button undone. Fasten up, shall we? This guy, I picked up a couple of records by him of late. This is Andy Fairweather Lowe, who was originally in the Amen Corner. British guitarist and songwriter. This album is produced by Glyn Johns, the famous producer. Famous for having worked with The Who and the Stones and Paul McCartney. This is La Boogaruga, Inner. And it's just on A&M. Yeah, I picked up a record by him a while back, and it was all right. I'd give it sort of 7 out of 10. It wasn't fantastic, but it was okay. It was worth picking up, and I enjoyed it enough to pick up another one. So, in a future video, I'll show the other one as well, and I might do a video on him, just a brief thing, you know, hunting Andy Fairweather Lowe through the wild. I have that series where I accidentally start to collect people, and he may well be somebody that might fall into that category. So yeah, from Amen Corner, and yeah, I mean, being produced by Glyn Johns is a good sign. This one I was really pleased to grab because it was in really good condition. And I played the first track of this the other day, Let's Stick Together. This is Brian Ferry, and it sounded incredible. I mean, clearly I've got that song already on the CD, you know, compilations and so on, but it leapt off the vinyl. And I think Sean's Lock mentioned when I posted this on Facebook, I think he called it a really great album. So I'm looking forward to giving this one a proper spin. I've recently-ish finished collecting all the Roxy albums, so I suppose the next step is to start getting into some of Brian's solo work. So that was a nice find, that one, 1976. Another singer-songwriter who I didn't own anything by is Gordon Lightfoot, so I was pleased to pick up this album from 1975. This is Cold on the Shoulder, which is a very nice record. I've given this a few spins already. Didn't know much about him, quite kind of easygoing stuff. Nice voice, nice songs, good voice. Worth picking up for the princely sum of, I don't know how much. It was only about maybe £3. I grabbed this one. This is Ace, who American listeners might not know this band, but it was the original band to feature Paul Carrack, who later went on to be in Squeeze and Mike and the Mechanics, and of course now he has a fairly successful solo career. Great British blue-eyed soul. Their big hit was the song How Long, which unfortunately is not on this record. I used to have the album that How Long was on, and I lost it. So I think that one's called the Ace album or An Ace album. So I was pleased to grab this one. This comes from 1977, but Ace are one of those very interesting, well, they're a band that comes from that strange period when punk had just started to break, and the old guard was starting to vanish, and some bands clung on and some bands did start to fade away. I think Ace were one of those, but they wrote good songs, good pop songs, good British blue-eyed soul, so I was pleased to grab that. That was only $1.99. Ace, featuring Paul Carrack. And then finally, from the thrift store, I just grabbed this Seals and Crofts. I only really know their song. Well, it's not their song. Is it their song? Summer Breeze? Or was that a cover? I love the song anyway, and I thought it would be a nice pickup. It was only, well, it was $2.99. Nice gatefold. I know Jorgen picks up Seals and Croft whenever he sees them. It's just kind of easygoing 1970s pop music. You know, just enjoyable for what it is. Doesn't really have any pretensions to be anything else. It's on Warner's. So yeah, Diamond Girl. I thought I'd grab that. Good price. Okay, so let me just quickly run you through what I bought from Tony. Tony is a guy living in my hometown. He actually works at the Bernardo's shop that I bought those records from, but I didn't know that when I met him. I saw his notice in my local supermarket. It took about 2 weeks from seeing the notice to actually ringing him, because I've heard horror stories on the VC. Mainly, it has to be said, from John Bellamy, about what may happen when you go around to somebody's house in order to buy records. But it all went off without a hitch. Tony was living in what looked to me like a bachelor pad. It was a kind of small house on 2 floors, and it was full of stuff. You know, Tony, definitely a collector. There was a lot of records, a lot of books. There were books and records and CDs piled everywhere. He took me upstairs to the den, and there were CDs and books on the stairs and so on. Took me into the room, into the record room, and it was wall to floor it was floor to ceiling, all against one wall of records. And he'd picked out 2 boxes that he was wanting to sell. And I asked him what was his motivation for doing that, and he just said, just to make some space, you know, just need to turn the record over. Yeah, he said it was just to make some space, and that he sells records all the time. He works for a charity, and I think he has a kind of a turnover of stuff coming through. I didn't quite know what to expect. I had phoned him originally just to try and suss him out a little bit. I asked him to give me some examples of the kind of records that he had for sale and how much they were going to be. He mentioned a Who record that was £10. He mentioned some Mike Oldfield, some Paul McCartney stuff. So I thought it'd be worth it. The stuff in the boxes, it wasn't kind of like mind-blowing stuff. There was evidence of mind-blowing stuff in the room. The first thing I saw when I walked in was a copy of Trackmaster Replica, but it turned out that there was only one record in that. You know, it's a double album. But I think Tony, I didn't start to go through his collection in proper, but I think he would have had some quite interesting things. But the boxes contained, you know, reasonably interesting things, but nothing that was going to blow my mind. I could see that kind of straight away. There was AC/DC, you know, there was Back in Black for those about to rock, which I have anyway. He'd marked up all the records, and I pulled out a few things, but Tony was really, really easy on price. There was one record that I'll show you at the end he'd marked down as being £10, and when I kind of ummed and ahed and went, not sure about that, and he immediately halved the price. He immediately knocked it down to £5, and so I kind of said yes. I think I got some good bargains. So I bought this 12-inch. This is a Liquidator, classic old reggae, Harry J. All Stars. I was once in a ska band playing keyboards, and we used to do a fairly ropey version of that, so I thought I would pick it up. I have it on a CD compilation, but it's just it's always nice to pick up Trojan 12 inches when you see them, which is never. Liquidator. A few pops on that one, but I cleaned it up, it was okay. So yeah, I think Tony let me have that one for just a couple of pounds. Definitely a nice thing to have. Now this next one is a band that I've seen people talking about on the VC, and I didn't have anything by them at all. I know Paul, Fit to be Tie-Dyed, is a fan of them, and he just recently actually made a video all about them. So when I saw this, I grabbed it straight away, and it is the album Switch by Golden Earring, who I think because Paul was into them, for some reason I thought they were a Canadian band, but apparently they are Dutch. So yeah, this is their 10th album, Switch, and it's just good old-fashioned rock and roll. There's a song on here which apparently Iron Maiden covered, Kill Me Ce Soir. Apparently Iron Maiden covered that one. Yeah, it's just, it's rock, guitars, keyboards, drums, vocals. You know, it's it didn't blow my mind, but it was an enjoyable record. It was a good price. I checked it out on Discogs and eBay, and you can't get it for the price that I got it from Tony. I think this one was something like £5. The cheapest I could see one in the UK on Discogs was maybe 3 times that price, so I wasn't going to leave it behind. My first golden earring. Then this one, I grabbed this straight away because, again, never see his records. This is Tim Hardin, the folk singer from the 60s, whose work I do know. I have a CD copied from the library from, you know, many years ago, which I've had knocking about for years, but I'd never had a record by him. Fantastic songs. How Can We Hang On To A Dream, If I Were a Carpenter, Black Sheep Boy. A good one to pick up, I think. That's on Verve. A compilation. I don't know how many albums he actually put out. Don't know a great deal about him, but I do love his music, so that was a nice thing to grab. Now this one I was pleased to get. This was sort of a grail. I've long had it on CD, and I just wanted a vinyl copy. I've never seen one at a good price, so when I saw it in Tony's record box, I grabbed it. This is Split by the Groundhogs. I first heard this record back in the 90s. I shared a house with a guy who had a really amazing record collection, and he had quite a few Groundhogs albums, and it was during a period when I was getting into the blues, so they were a good band to get into and to listen to. Tony McPhee, you know, British guitar player. This is kind of in the spirit of you know, Jimi Hendrix Experience, psychedelic blues jamming, but done in a song-based context. You've got the song Cherry Red, which is a classic. Let's have a look. It's just on UA. So yeah, The Rock File. I was pleased to get that. Again, it was a good price, and it sort of was a grail for me. It's a record that I've never seen in a while before, and I've always enjoyed. Okay, one for Lise. I grabbed this one. It just looks so beautiful. It's actually a live album. It's a live set from 1963, recorded in Newcastle, and it's really good. You know, I mean, live albums from the 60s don't have the best reputation. It's not necessarily recorded really well, but it's very vibey. It captures them at a really early point in their career when they were really spitting fire, you know, great British blues, and what a great cover. On Europa. And the final one, the one that I didn't want to take away for £10, and then Tony immediately dropped the price to £5, is this. Deep Purple, Machine Head. The only Deep Purple album I had in my collection was the classical one, John Lord Concerto, which I'm not that keen on. It's alright, but I wanted a proper full-blown Deep Purple album. I'm not the biggest fan of Ian Gillan's vocals, but this is a really good listen. I was surprised at how good it was. I mean, it's, you know, it's the album that's got Smoke on the Water on it, so it's kind of like, you know, you have to have it in your collection. But I was actually really impressed by the quality of the musicianship and the songs. It was really kind of to the bone kind of sound, you know, Deep Purple. In my mind, they were a bit more of a flouncy kind of band. I mean, they do have all that kind of John Lord classical keyboard stuff going on, but they've also got their primal side as well. I mean, you know, Smoke on the Water is just the archetypal, primal, heavy guitar riff, and the whole album sustains itself very much along those lines. So definitely a good thing to find in Tony's house and pick up for the princely sum of £5. So yeah, I was really pleased to get it into the collection, where it will stay until I die. Deep Purple. Okay, so that's the end of this update. So plenty more videos around the corner. Just want to say a big, huge thank you to everybody for watching, subscribing. I reached a milestone in the last couple of days, got to 1,000 subscribers, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. So yeah, all I can say is just thanks ever so much for your continued support, and always love the VC, always love what goes on, keeping up to date with what people are doing, and I've got plenty more ideas for videos coming down the line. Just a matter of finding the time, space and energy to make them. So but yeah, stay tuned, lots more to come, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye.